Unetlana, we come to you asking for your blessing and help as we are gathered together. We pray for guidance in the matters at hand and ask that you would clearly show us how to conduct our work with the spirit of joy and enthusiasm. Help us to work together and encourage each other to excellence. We ask that you would challenge us and each other to reach higher and farther to be the best we can be. We ask this in your name. Amen.
Thank you, Doctor. Shelley, can you do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Daryl Legg.
Here.
Melvina Shotpouch. Keith Austin. Here. Danny Callison. Here. Julia Coates. Here. Sean Crittenden. Here. Joe Deere. Mike Dobbins. Here. Rex Jordan. Johnny Kidwell. Here. Wes Snowfire. Dora Petzkowski. Here. Joshua Sam. Here. Mike Shambaugh. E.O. Smith. Here. Kendessa Teehee. Victoria Vasquez. We have a quorum.
Thanks, Shelley. Can I have approval of the minutes, please? Second. All right, all in favor? Any opposed? All right, moving on to reports. We have Jennifer Kirby, Human Services.
Good afternoon, Council. You have my report. I'll ask if there's any questions.
Go ahead, Sean.
Jennifer, thank you. Boy, I pester you more than I pester a lot of people. And Jerry.
I don't feel bad now.
All right, Jennifer, now, of course, what would you like us to tell them for now? Hey, my kid on the clothing voucher, when should we, and I've been sending you a bunch, but I was going to ask you, what's a good answer when they should start getting excited and worried when they ask me, so-and-so got it, so-and-so didn't, my kids didn't get it?
So the first payment that went out, I believe it was last week, that was a large number, and that was those that had no duplicates, no issues, that were approved, and large number went out. Right now, what we are working on is that we will be working on as soon as the processes get ironed out, is the ones that had to have documentation, which could have been the 18 to 22-year-olds, and then the ones that had duplicates, which might be a custody issue if they had to upload something around who had custody. And so all of those are put in a folder.
Or maybe on that, maybe they got mixed up and started over on the duplicate deal?
Yeah, some of them that we're seeing is that they entered the children in 2 different places, or they might have went in, did an application under mom or dad, and then went in and did one under the kids.
Okay.
Those just take a little bit of time sorting out. We will start working on those as soon as possible, as soon as all that process is worked out. But those are the ones that are held up right now. If they, they check their emails, if they maybe didn't have the correct email on their portal, and they might not have the email right now, they will get a check if everything went through. But if they're unsure about, or they have been told that they didn't have an application in there, it's open right now. It's open for them 2 more weeks. Go ahead and go in and get your application submitted again.
Let's say,
Most of them that submitted successfully should have gotten a confirmation number. And a lot of people took a screenshot of that and are sharing that whenever they have questions. Say, hey, here's my confirmation number.
okay. And now if they're waiting on duplicates and we don't get back with them, if they're kind of still wondering, they don't need to apply again, do they? Because that duplicated again.
Right. Yeah, no, if they know that there's a duplicate, then no, they don't need to apply again. We've just got to work that out. I don't have an exact timeline on how, we're gonna, as soon as we're able, we're gonna get those, we'll get them, start working on them.
I just didn't want to, so you still want me to send you names, or is there a time where I shouldn't send you names until you get all that work?
Did you see my eyes get real big? No. You can.
But like some of these, because you told me that they're duplicates, so I've told them, but some of these others that call me, I didn't want to
Yeah.
bombard you anymore.
I mean, you can, and we'll get to them as soon as we can, and, you know, our phone lines are
I know.
working overtime, but again, we will try to get to you as soon as possible. Because there is some questions, because I don't know exactly what they see on that side,
Right.
on the parent side. I'm not exactly sure what they see, but we can tell you, yes, there's a duplicate in there, but pretty much, I think they probably know if there might be a situation, if another parent may have applied, or if they've applied twice.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll do the best we can. I wish I had a simple answer for that.
Well, thank you. I can't imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, this is still the nationwide thing? Global, maybe, if you lived in
Yes, there are
Mexico or
some,
somewhere?
yeah, there are some in other countries.
Well, wow, good job, and
Yeah.
I'll try to keep my emails a little bit less. Thank you.
Maybe if you want to send them all at the end of one day, or every couple
Nah.
of days, maybe?
I-
Gather them in bundles, maybe, that might be helpful.
I'm about 4:45 on a Friday with Jerry and Jennifer.
4:55.
4:55, yeah.
No,
All right,
we're
Josh,
here, yeah.
you through? Okay, go ahead.
I'll share the kind of same sentiment with
Yeah.
Sean. Appreciate you and Jerry. I know we probably both bother you more than most. I think I bother y'all more than him. I'm first place. But just to go with the utility assistance, how many of them have we processed? Are we getting to, I guess you would say, the easy ones, and now we're right there missing documents? Is that
Right.
what the ones we're processing now?
I would say, so we've processed probably over 3,000. Now we're working on the ones that were missing documents. Watch your email. That, right now, there's been concern about, email and documents and things. So now we've come up with this, with the help of Paula Star IT team, have come up with a safe way for people to upload their documents back onto the portal. So, you will get an email. I have, staff throughout Human Services, probably over 40 to 50 staff who are working after hours and on weekends. Watch your email. You'll get instructions on how to do that and what you're missing. So, I mean, if there's an email problem, you know, those will take a little bit more time to solve, but that's where we are right now. So,
Thank you.
And Jennifer, I'll tell you what, I don't know, if we get to do this again next year for the clothing vouchers, I would really like for us to do it in May. That way they can have their money, because school's already started, and there's so many that haven't been able to go
Yeah.
get clothes. And if we can, you know, if we're
Yeah.
blessed enough to where we can do that for everybody, I'd really like to start it earlier if we can.
we'll take your suggestion.
Melvina?
Oh, I was just saying, Sean, so just tell them to hold on for a few days if they know they applied and, don't do anything.
Yeah, if a lot of people, like I said, took screenshots in the confirmation. We're seeing some issues with devices. For instance, if they have an older cell phone and it's maybe not updated, there may be some missing elements on the application where they thought they applied and then they didn't. I spoke to a gentleman that he said, I know I'm having trouble getting my money. I know all my questions are right. I know my password's right. I said, what are you using it from? He said, my cell phone. And I said, well, try a desktop or a laptop. He went home, did his laptop. He called me back and left me a message, said it worked perfectly. So, I know personally, I've tried to do some things on my phone, and there's missing buttons or things that I don't see. And I know not everybody has access to those as well, but, we will definitely try to accommodate them too in our offices.
So it's probably this lady, she's a student and she has 2 kids, and she did hers after she did her kids, and she still hadn't got it, so it's probably somewhere where she did for hers and her children's. It's probably looked
Yeah.
like a duplicate or something, probably.
Right, if they're
Uh-huh.
together,
Yeah.
if you had one that's like a college student or over the age, or the 18 to 22 group, don't quote me on this for certain, but I think kind of what I'm seeing is if they were all on one application, it is holding them up.
Okay.
It is holding the other ones up,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
All right,
Because
but I
because those have to be reviewed. We have to make sure they have documentation and such,
All
so.
right, all right, thank you.
You got you. Councilman Deere?
I was just saying, with a lot of calls, like when I've called the office to say, Jennifer Kirby, leave a message, can you have some of the people that, since you're getting calls, just leave an updated message, like, here's where we are. If you have this problem, leave a message. If not, try this. You know, because that sort of gives them somewhere to go.
Right.
Instead of saying, hey, this is Jennifer Kirby, leave a message. And that could be, hey, I'm eating dinner, it could be anything. But utility, if you're talking about utility, you could leave just a short message. And we sort of wanted registration to do that. I mean, let us know you're on May or June or something. And that probably will get rid of a lot of those phone calls, so. That's my suggestion, so, if you don't want to just keep taking phone calls, so. But that's all I had, thanks.
She'll do that to us when we call her now. Good idea, Joe.
Yeah. She'll probably
If
put,
you're
if this is
calling
Sean,
after 5,
If you're from District 6,
no.
yeah, if you're Madera County, leave a message.
Dora?
Jennifer, just so I make sure I understand, I'm sorry, Jerry. The emails that people are getting right now, if they have missed some documentation, my understanding is it's telling them to go into their open request, click on the view details, and when they do that, do they actually have the option to correct through that view details, the documents that may need to be uploaded, or can you speak to that?
So what that does is that it allows them to go in and add,
Missing documents?
what's missing, yes.
Okay,
I don't believe it lets them modify anything on the application itself.
okay, gotcha.
So,
Okay.
and I just want to update you, on the clothing assistance, 63,354 payments were issued, so, thus far, so.
Wow.
So that's another thing to attest to the Gadigi portal. They were able to just go through like that. That would have taken months and months to be able to do, so.
Cadessa?
Good afternoon, Ms. Kirby.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
I just wanted to also add my thanks to you and your staff. You know, by the time someone needs to reach out to ask for help, oftentimes they've had to overcome personal hurdles. You know, it's tough to ask for help for a lot of our Cherokee people. And so I really want to commend you and your staff for being there for those folks in their moment of need. Whether we're talking about, you know, utility assistance or emergency funding for, you know, an unforeseen gap in income from a medical event or something else that has occurred for those families. Thank you so much, and thank you to your staff as well for the work that they're doing.
Thank you. I'll let them know, and very dedicated and just, you know why they're there, and so appreciate that. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you for the time, Chair.
Danny?
Jennifer, have we got any other updates on the new ICW at Pryor, where they're moving in, out by where Human Services is at? Do we know when they're going to move, or have they already moved?
So I don't have an exact date, but our new spot is moving along, so I would say probably, what is this, August, so probably in the next few months. Yep. So, we'll just shift places, with them. the services will go to another location, and then they'll move into that location because the vicinity, it's in the vicinity of the courthouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would also like to thank you. I know we had a couple of elders that we finally got them into a house after theirs had burnt their home, and you guys do really good work, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Sean, was you still wanting to?
Follow up. Jennifer, when we have those times where we're helping people apply the different dates at different places, how good of crowds are we getting there? Have they?
I think, like with the clothing, we probably had more than we did with the utility assistance. It varies from 20 to maybe close to 100-ish.
Okay,
Um,
so
Yeah.
pretty good turnout.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, and, with the technology, a lot of people have it, but, these events are, for people that maybe either don't have the right technology or are not able to access it as quickly. So, yeah, I mean, but even if it was 2 people, we were there, so.
But how many computers do we take when we do those things?
So we were able to use iPads, and we had, anywhere from, depending on the location, we had anywhere from 3 to, probably 9.
Okay.
Some locations a little bit smaller, took 3, some took up to, we had, I believe, 10 or more to take.
Well, that's a great deal. 'Cause, also, just had a text, and I hadn't asked this in a long time, $2,000 applying for it is over, right, for now? Because I have one, I just got my birth certificate, and it was June 1st, wasn't it, to be a citizen?
You had to apply by June 1st.
I was gonna say
Be in the
Tara
system.
Lee is here, and I think that might have changed that, sorry, that slipped by me. So I'm gonna have to phone a friend, maybe, to help me out here.
Lifeline.
Sorry, I don't get many of those calls anymore, but I just got one,
It's over.
and I didn't want to tell them no if there was a chance. Hi.
We were fighting over who was going to take the answer to that question, but it remains the same regardless who says it.
Okay.
So you had to be a citizen by the deadline of June 30th. So we're still catching a few of those people that are still, they had a little bit of, haven't got their applications in for the 2,000 yet. We're still allowing those people to apply. It's just that citizenship by deadline.
Citizenship by was June 30th. Now, if it's pending, maybe, but if they're just now applying for their registration, no, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Tara Lee, real fast, let's clarify. So if they filled out their application to register for Cherokee before June 30th, and then let's say they get their card 8 months from now, but before June 30th happened, June 1st?
So they had to be a citizen. They had to have their card that says citizen by before that date.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah, because I thought the whole thing was that you had to register, and then as long as you were registered, say 8 months from now, you get your card, you still get the 2,000.
But your card will say you're registered on X date, or the system will say that. So they're in our system, maybe they don't have the card in their hand.
I got, yeah,
Does that make
yeah.
sense? Did I say it confusing? I'm sorry.
I got you.
That's what I meant.
We're good, we're good.
Councilwoman Coates? Yes, ma'am.
Councilman Cole?
I just wanted to clarify, because my understanding is the date was May 31st or June 1st.
So
That
the
they had to
2,000,
have their application submitted by that date, because I have people who, their application wasn't picked up until June 2nd and are being told, no, you're too late, so.
Yeah, I believe that Tara Lee is right. They had to have applied for citizenship by June 30th. If they did not do that, then they're not.
Okay, so this is my question, because I have emails and I have Mr. Van's response on them, people whose applications were picked up on June 2nd by registration, and they're being told that was too late, that May 31st was, or June 1st was the last day for an application to be submitted.
June 1st, okay, because I don't have that in front of me, but let me confirm that's June 1st or June 30th.
I think it is, rather than, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Extended, right?
We'll get that to you
I
guys.
think it got extended. Well, we'll find out in a little bit.
Yeah,
You bet.
we'll get you the correct information. I just don't have it in front of me. Okay. Other questions?
Just got a comment, Daryl. These people had applied before June 1st, back in somewhere in January, and they called me, like last week and said, could you check on my cards, which we can't really do, but they had called me, and then I got a call from their grandma, said, thank you so much for checking on the cards. They got the card today, and they're getting their money.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly right. As long as you applied before June
Yeah,
1st.
we're
And
still
I thought it got
processing.
extended, though, to June 30th, it seems like.
Let me confirm that.
Go ahead, but I think it did, but.
Well, I found out the date, but we are, yes, Counselor Shotpatch, we are still processing those as they come in.
Right.
It is,
Okay, good deal, good deal.
sure. Yeah, we will send out an email. Thank you. Any other questions on that?
Any other questions for Corey? Chief of Staff?
Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Hey, and I'll say this, I love the idea of what they're doing at Health and doing the secret shopper stuff and calling lines. And I'd suggest that every department do that. Yeah. I love that idea. And, you know, because we all get the calls about so-and-so's rude, I just can't believe this happened, or nobody's answering, or nobody's doing this. And, man, if we all just called and checked up on, well, not us, that'd be kind of obvious, but I mean, if you could assign somebody for every department within Cherokee Nation, you know, that'd help out everybody, not just the constituents, but then the people that have to take the calls about complaints and stuff, and, yeah, and help the employee get right, not just, you know, anyway, well, thank you so much, Jennifer.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Thank you all.
Next, Michael Lynn, Department of Transportation and Infrastructure.
Good afternoon, Council. You have our monthly reports, but I do just want to cover a few things. On the water and sanitation side, we received a notification from Indian Health Service for our FY22 projects. There's 7 projects total that just shy of $9.4 million in total, so wanted to make mention of that. On transportation side, we've completed the Rocky Mountain School Loop Bridge project in Adair County, also completed Hulbert Lost City Road project in Cherokee County, and we've got Chimney Rock Hollow in Mays County nearing completion. Just another thing that I noticed going through the report, our transit ridership has increased, and those numbers that are in the report are always 2 months behind. It just takes a while to gather the data from all of the different agencies that we work with, but the increase over the numbers you see in our report for this month or for June, but the increase from the May numbers is over 1,000 rides increase, and I attribute that to probably gas prices. But that was interesting. So we had just in this month we had 8,000, almost 8,500 rides just in this month. So,
May 31st or May 30th?
Mr. Chairman, that's what I have. All I have to report. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
If the card had to be in here?
No,
Okay.
registration.
Okay.
Just recognize Derek.
Okay. Do we got Derek here. Derek, if you'll just sit there for just a second, let me get done with Michael Lynn's report, okay? Councilman Deere, sorry about that.
Hey, Mike.
Yes,
I got an interesting question. You know, we got a lot of projects going on. We did a pipe order the other day and 52 weeks out.
Mhm.
What are we doing with the contractors on the jobs coming up? Are we doing it sort of where we can get them the money for supplies and get ordered so it doesn't make something happen? That way we know we have the project on job site, on their, wherever they keep it. Like on certain deal to make sure they actually, even though they bid it, doesn't mean that they can get the supplies.
Right, right.
Do we have something in place to get those contractors the money up front?
Is this steel pipe, concrete, or plastic?
Ductile.
Concrete?
Ductile?
We don't use any ductile.
None for water line?
No, none.
Okay. So that was the
Oh,
the
for
ductile.
water line, I thought you were talking about road projects, sorry.
Yeah,
Water line possibly, potentially, but it's probably, most of that's HDPE pipe they weld together.
right. Okay. So I was surprised when you said 52 weeks, so,
Yeah. Typically, we don't pay for materials on hand until it's placed in the ground and functioning properly. But, if there's an event that we needed to look at, such as, a delay in receiving it, we would entertain that and make adjustments where necessary.
I would just say that on your pre-cons,
Mm-hmm.
ask that question, especially on PVC. 8 inch is standard,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times recently 6 has been gone. So I just didn't know, I just didn't want that contractor to say, okay, let me bid this, and all of a sudden now I can't get the materials.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
but that's why I would just suggest, and that's what we heard. That's what's taking so long in a lot of these other projects.
Right. Yeah, there's some other steel, iron type work that we've had some delays in getting, but,
Right.
yeah, we would make adjustments where necessary.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Bet.
Appreciate it, Chair.
Wes?
Michael, I know Indian Road is a big issue. You guys have been pulled in on that. I've been working with Commissioner Hall with my district. I know it's going to pull in Sequoia County. It's a big feat, and I know citizens are getting anxious because it seems like it's a long time. I've been handling them on a regular basis on phone calls, saying we're going to get to it. Everyone's waiting for that plan, and I know you with the commissioner are almost there. So all I can say is, appreciate the guys' work doing that and trying to get it there. And I know that once we're able kind of to divulge a little bit how it's going to take place and the reason why it's such a big issue, it needs to be addressed, I think, publicly at some point if your department, I know the commissioner there has been getting phone calls too by the newspapers of how's this thing going to go on. Because a lot of people don't realize that the photo that I think Channel 6 got of the big hole, it's not just that hole. There are 4 or 5 other holes that are now stretched into Sequoia County, and so it takes both commissioners, and you don't want to pull road crews from Sequoia County and Cherokee County for 6 months to fix it, because then nobody's road gets graded. So it's a big feat, and I'm glad that you guys are stepping in there to help out. I know Commissioner, he's there with me, and I'm telling him whatever we need to do from our side, and so whenever we're able to get something formulated to kind of address the public that we're doing it, and this is the phase, and this is how it's going to go. I know that they're anxiously waiting to hear that we're on board with them and getting behind the commissioners to get that done, so.
Absolutely, you bet. There's actually 3 washouts
Yeah.
and 3 landslides
Yeah.
from that May rain event. There's also some ditch that has eroded to the point where it needs to be repaired, and then some soft spots that have been identified in the road. So that south end of Indian Road really took a beating in that event, and we do now, like you say, have a solution that we're moving forward with, and the county is working on the design of that project, and of course, we identified funding for it. We're also seeking from a separate source of funds something called ERFO. It's Emergency Relief for Federally Owned Roads. That would actually reimburse us for the money that we spend out of our what I would call our normal road project fund. So it's we're working on solutions, and I know that everybody that's driving that or having to take the detours, I should say, they want it sooner than later.
Oh, yeah, I know I think even some of the EMS workers and stuff, I said, we're getting to it because we know it's a big issue and it takes an extra 15 minutes going around. So, yeah, I've been expressing to them that we're working on it. I know at one point I said, can we make even a temporary path? And they're just like, no, because the way the road's cut, that's the only way you can go through. And so it's just it was just a mess, and so I'm glad that we're able to get that cleared up, and once we get that addressed out to the public, I think they'll definitely appreciate that, so.
Bet.
All right, appreciate it, appreciate you.
Thank you, Wes. Councilman Crittenden.
Mr. Lynn, I think I'm right. If a commissioner has a job they want to do, it must, go to Deb Nodi, and she'll send it to us for approval or not. And had a question arise. Now, there can't be a job done, and then they let us know and we reimburse, right?
That's certainly not preferred. We'd rather know about these ahead of time and work with them to get the project developed and moving. I'm not gonna say we haven't done reimbursement, I consider that a reimbursement if it's already done. I'm not gonna say we haven't done reimbursements in the past, but it's certainly not how our policies are written, and that's not how we would prefer. We'd prefer to know about it ahead of time,
Okay, thank you.
so, you bet.
All right, moving along to roads, you want to give that report? Are you ready to do roads report?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I think the next one is just roads, public comments that we take from.
Oh, I got you, I'm
yeah,
sorry, I'm sorry, I
So
just
if
read
there are
roads.
any public comments, we'd be happy to hear them.
Councilman Smith?
I just want to thank you for taking the initiative to come down there to Sequoia County the other day, and it was a big meeting, and we couldn't pull it off if you hadn't took the initiative to do it, and I think we made some people happy, but we didn't get much done, but I appreciate your effort.
You bet.
And your team.
You bet. And
You do.
we're planning on another one of those same meetings at the first part of September, so we'll be back down there again to try to get them moving. If, hopefully we won't need the meeting, but if we do, we'll be there.
Definitely call me.
Yeah, and I'd probably suggest having some kind of a state elected official there so that they can witness what goes on, because I heard about it, and that, I'm not impressed with it.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
It was rough.
I appreciate you, Michael. All right, Jerry, if you don't mind us skipping real fast, we'll get to Derek. Derek?
Good afternoon, council. I'd just like to, just to speak on the application issue. We had to have it in hand in our office by June 1st, close of business. Somebody tried to mail it in, a couple of days before, and we didn't get it in till after June 1st, they will not be considered. We had to have it in hand by June 1st, close of business. Yes?
All right, Derek, so in hand. Now, I could hand you an incomplete application needing a document that you let me know of 2 weeks later. So what about that scenario?
Yes, we did take any and all applications that come in,
Even incomplete?
even in incomplete applications, yes, sir. Nobody was turned away.
All right.
We took in every application. We stayed until, I think it was at like 8 or 9 o'clock that night, trying to get all these applications entered in and taken in. So we worked extra long hours just to accommodate everyone. Any
Julia?
other questions?
Julie, are you satisfied? Yes. Okay. Councilman Deere?
Oh, yes, yes. Everyone, anyone who has not applied for the COVID assistance was a citizen before June 1st will still be able to apply for the COVID assistance until June of '24. So that means if they turn their applications in before June 1st, and they're just now getting their, citizenship numbers in the mail in the coming months, in the coming days, they'll still be eligible for the COVID assistance and eligible to apply until June of '24.
So how far along are you on that list, Derek? Like, where are you at this week?
It's hard to say, but we're working very, very hard to get there.
But are you in May or are you in June?
We are at the tail end of May.
That's what I need to know, tail end of May.
But we're at the tail end of May.
That's pretty good.
Mhm.
So, I mean, you only had, what, 1 or 2 applicants? No. Hey, Derek, thanks, Widow, for all you do, brother. I know
Yes,
it's
sir.
busy, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair.
Chair, just one comment.
Yes, sir.
I'd also just like to say we've already made, I think we've already received over 300,000 applications for the $2,000 assistance, so that's a
Wow.
lot of work, so.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Moving along in reports, Jerry Killer with Housing.
Good afternoon, everyone. College housing applications, those are currently open. So if you have students in your districts that are going to college, they can be going to school anywhere. They just have to have a permanent residence within the 14 counties. So that's, I think people question if they can go to school outside of the reservation, and they can. They just have to have a permanent residence within inside. So with that, you have my report? Yes?
So is the NAHASDA guidelines lifted on this specific housing?
No.
You still have to be a
This
NAHASDA
is
resident?
still, yes, this is still an AHASDA-funded program, but we are going to look at the income of the household we are assisting,
Okay.
not the whole family. So if you are a college student and you have, your own family, we're looking at your family, but if you're a college student, still on your parents' taxes, we're looking at the student's income.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wes?
I had a question about the mortgage assistant program. Is that being utilized by usage of ARPA fund money?
So regular mortgage assistance is NAHASDA funded.
Okay.
Now, we did a new construction plus program, and that was for applicants who had our new construction application prior to January 19, 2022. They were offered a $50,000 down payment assistance. We also offered that to mortgage assistance applications who had applications by that date.
Okay. And that's all I was asking on the mortgage assistant program. Someone had asked me if that's ARPA funds, but yet they still have to use a soft lien. I said, let me check, because I don't think that's ARPA funds that's being utilized there. I think it's a different batch of funding there, and so they do have stipulations that we're required to put a soft lien on there.
Yes, it's for those applicants that applied prior to January 19th, we're using both ARPA and NAHASDA.
Okay.
And Wes, are you talking about the, not the regular MAP program, but the 3 months?
Yeah, the 3 month mortgage assistant program.
That is
funding.
Oh, you're talking about homeowner assistance fund?
Yeah.
Yes, homeowner assistance
Okay,
funds.
that's totally different. Homeowner assistance fund is Department of Treasury funds.
Okay,
And yes, they do require us to put a.
they do require,
yes,
okay.
yes.
All right, that's just what I want to know on how we answer that, because I said, well, I don't know, let me divulge into exactly where those funds come from, because they all have different strings to them. And so I was certain that it was probably had some strings attached to it, but I wanted to make it clear.
It does. And I believe that it depends on the amount of assistance that they get, but it's only 1 to 3 years.
Okay.
It's not a full 10-year like regular mortgage assistance.
Right, exactly.
So,
Okay, all right, appreciate it.
of course.
Condesa?
On that college housing assistance program, is that for undergrad and graduate students, or are there limitations on that?
We removed the restriction of first-time bachelor's degree. So we've opened it up to anyone who is attending an institute of higher education. So it could be grad school, it could be undergrad. We've always done, VOTEC schools, trade schools as well, but this year they can be a grad student.
Fantastic. That is wonderful news. And I just want to say, in a previous meeting, a couple of counselors, or previous comments, a couple of counselors were joking that they may bother you the most, and I feel like I may have that title for housing. But I just want to commend you and your staff on the patience and the grace that you show in the execution of your duties there at the Housing Authority. I know that we have some citizens who have some complex scenarios that you have to work through, you and your staff have to work through. And I just want to say thank you for the quick response times, the patience and the grace that you and your staff show to all the citizens that you work with. And I really appreciate all of your assistance and your help.
Thank you, Counselor. We appreciate that. The staff works very hard, and I will definitely pass that along to the staff. So thank you for that.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the time, Chair.
Victoria?
Just a quick question, Jerry, and could I speak with you after this meeting? Thank you.
All right, any other questions for Jerry? Oh, go ahead, Neil.
On the housing, what percent do they pay on the housing?
Going to need you to be a little more specific about on the housing. Are you
On
talking
the
about?
college housing, I'm sorry.
So college housing, it's up to $1,000 per semester. So it just going to depend on if they're going to school, if they're living on campus, we'll pay a lump sum to the college or university. If they're living off campus, then we divide that up over 4 or 5 months and pay the landlord monthly. But it's up to $1,000.
But if they live off campus, they still get 1,000?
Yes,
Really?
absolutely. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
If you have constituents that live off campus within the jurisdiction, I would recommend they apply for regular rental assistance, though, because that's going to go all year long, as opposed to college housing is going to go by semester. So you're going to miss out on June and July with college housing if they're living off campus. And we give priority to applicants that are full-time students on regular rental assistance. So they don't have to wait on a wait list for very long, couple of months at the most.
All right. Any other questions for Jerry? All right, Jerry, we appreciate you so much.
Thank you, appreciate you.
All right. Speaker, we're ready to read this off. Oh. Everybody hold what you got. Old business, none pending, new business. Speaker, if you would take that, please.
This is a resolution authorizing an application to the Federal Highway Administration for Travel Transportation Programs bridge funding, and I put that in form of motion. And also, it needs to go to full council tonight if it passes.
All right. Motion made. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. So it's going to full council tonight.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Any announcements? Next meeting is Monday, September 12th at 4 o'clock. Go ahead.
Okay, your books for the 825 rules and executive and finance committee are all on your desks. And also, we do have a mask mandate, so when we go down to the other room, we do need to have our masks for that meeting, and when we go down the hallway, there is a mask mandate for the building. So wear your mask if you would, please.
All right. Anything else? All adjourned?
5 minutes.